Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. The Oklahoma City Thunder winning the Larry O'Brien NBA Finals Championship trophy for the very first time in the history of its franchise. It was a great game, okay? Overall for the series, I can say that it wasn't the best quality. I have said in previous podcasts, and I have said very recently, that me personally, I never cared to watch the Thunder. I thought they were boring. I don't particularly like the way SGA plays. Jalen Williams, he's cool. Never been a fan of Chet Holmgren. They got this Wallace kid that's been off the bench. Alex Caruso GOAT. They got a cool team, but they were relatively boring to watch. I was cheering for the Timberwolves out of the West. And of course, the Indiana Pacers, I was cheering for the Knicks, but the Pacers were a fun watch. You had Tyrese Halliburton and everybody else in the whole crew. But for the most part, this series was good. It was entertaining. We got our first Game 7 NBA Finals since 2016 with LeBron James and the Warriors. A lot of fans were ecstatic about it. We've had a lot of recent articles coming out about the ratings not being the best and compared to the past. Whatever. But me personally, I haven't been that tuned into it. Just because the two teams that ended up in it, I never really cared for the most. But I was able to watch this game. It's Game 7 of the NBA Finals. You had the Indiana Pacers. Let's just get back to my main focal point here. It's all about the storylines. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder and Shai Gilgeous Alexander contending to win the first ever championship in the history of the franchise. Sam Presti, the GM, he's had a plethora of talent, which we are going to discuss in a few. The Kevin Durant's, Russell Westbrook's, Serge Ibaka, Kendrick Perkins, Kevin Durant, Thabo Savalosha. The list goes on and on of the talent he's had. He's had Paul George. Specifically, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook won MVPs there. Never able to get the job done. And then you got that hanging in the balance going into Game 7. And then on the other side, you have the Indiana Pacers. Haven't done much since Reggie Miller. You got exciting young players, Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton. With Halliburton having arguably one of the most crazy and from a player standpoint, a really sensational playoff run. And to cap that off with a championship, given that he has been labeled by his peers as overrated, that's what the storylines we had going into that game. And of course, I tuned in. And in the first couple minutes, Tyrese Halliburton was delivering. He was putting on a show for the fans. But that all went away after he had a gruesome injury. Saw the replay. He pretty much hyperextended his leg. And we all knew from the replay what happened. An Achilles tear. You saw the replay. You could see the Achilles pop. He's had a calf strain the last couple of games. I've gathered information earlier today. It seems like doctors did tell him that if you did have this injury in the middle of the season, you wouldn't be playing for a very long time. but doing what, of course, Tyrese Halliburton should have done and what any player would have did, he decided to play hurt anyways. We saw this with Kevin Durant back in 2018, 2019 against the Toronto Raptors. We saw the same thing with Damian Lillard this year. A calf strain is a very serious injury because we've seen in the past, whether it's Kevin Durant of the world, you had Damian Lillard this year, you had Jason Tatum, now Tyrese Halliburton. We've seen this trend go on, and it could have happened with Steph Curry if the Warriors would have hurried back Steph Curry. A calf strain not well attended to will lead to a inevitable torn Achilles. And that's what happened. And Tyrese Halliburton was 3 for 4 already coming out of the gate and shot 3 threes and made them. He looked like a man on a mission. He was ready to carry the load. Bring a championship to the city of Indianapolis. But he got deprived of that. And for the majority of the game, going into halftime, the Pacers played well. When it was from Nesmith, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, and the whole crew, they looked like they were ready for the challenge. But towards the end of the third quarter, the Thunder defensively had them in a chokehold. To the point, though, that there was no relief from it. TJ McConnell came into the third quarter and dropped like 13 straight points. There was a stat at one point going on in the third quarter that nobody scored outside of TJ McConnell. And when TJ McConnell could not score, that was the ball game. Because Nesmith, Siakam, Obi Toppin, none of these guys could make shots. And then Shai Gilgeous Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Wallace, Lou Dort making some big shots down the stretch, and Jalen Williams. And then they inevitably broke away later on in the game. From the end of the third quarter all the way till the fourth, the Thunder broke away. And given what the Pacers have done in the past on this whole playoff, they cut the lead down to like 10 or 8. I know it was 10 for sure. I don't know if they ever even got it to single. I think it maybe got it to 9. With like 4 or 5 minutes left, and you were sitting there thinking like, oh, maybe they could come back. But the margin was so big. Tyrese Halliburton, the person who has been the primary reason why they have been able to come back like they have this playoff, he was not in the lineup. So inevitably, the Thunder are your 2024-2025 NBA champions. And I have a question that I thought of and that I'm going to pose. Is Shai Gilgeous Alexander, can he now be considered the best Thunder of all time? The best player in the history of the franchise? And my answer to this, shockingly, is yes. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the ultimate goal? I'm going to ask it for everybody. What is our ultimate goal in the NBA? In any type of sport? It's to win a championship. As much as me personally, I grew up a Kevin Durant fan. I grew up a Thunder fan because of Kevin Durant. I loved what Russell Westbrook and the guys. James Harden, Serge Ibaka. I've said their names earlier. They were just so sensational. And that was such a good roster and a good team that it was an absolute sin in the basketball world that they never won a championship. And Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook won MVPs while they were there. And we're going to talk about what I foreshadowed earlier on with the, Given what Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant accomplished in a Thunder uniform at Oklahoma City, both winning MVPs. I think Russell Westbrook was set the record for triple-double to back-to-back years or something like that. I can't even remember. Going to the NBA Finals and playing a very, at that time, dominant Miami Heat team with LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh in their prime. But yet they never was able to accomplish the ultimate goal. And that was to win a championship. A lot of people may consider that Shai Gilgeous Alexander and the guys didn't really face the amount of competition that Kevin Durant and them did at that time. I am one of those people. I can say this for sure. Shai Gilgeous Alexander and the Thunder did not face a Miami-type team with that level of talent. The Pacers are not even in the same stratosphere as that Miami Heat team was. Even when the last season that Kevin Durant had on a Thunder's jersey when they lost to the reigning defending champion Golden State Warriors, that Golden State Warriors team is way out of Indiana Pacers league. They're not even close. But in a couple of years, when we look into the NBA history books, and a kid that's 8 years old is going to be a Thunder fan, he's going to sit here and say, Shai Gilgeous Alexander brought us the chip. I am going to remember Shai Gilgeous got him the chip. Because Shai Gilgeous Alexander was the runner-up last year for the MVP. Averaged 30 the past 2 seasons. And this year, in the same season, he led his team to a historic record. They were like 68 and something or 84 and something altogether this season. I don't even think they had 20 losses this season. I may be wrong. Let me know down in the comments if I am. But just this year alone, Shai Gilgeous Alexander was the scoring champion in the league. He was the regular season MVP, the Western Conference Finals MVP, an NBA champion, and he won the NBA Finals MVP. Kevin Durant didn't do that in a Thunder uniform. Russell Westbrook didn't do that in a Thunder uniform. So with that being said, Shai Gilgeous Alexander, without question, should be considered the best player to ever put on a Thunder uniform. Is he as exciting as Kevin Durant was watchable-wise? Absolutely not. We all consider Kevin Durant probably the most gifted scorer in the history of the NBA. Then Russell Westbrook, he is a living highlight reel in his prime with the Thunder. Every night, it was a crazy dunk, him putting up crazy numbers, him playing as fast as what many people consider Dwayne Wade and calling him the Flash. That is how fast Russell Westbrook was. A lot of people consider him to this day the fastest person with the ball in their hands, arguably in NBA history. He was an exciting watch. Is Shai Gilgeous Alexander even close to being as good of a watch as them two guys were? Absolutely not. To me personally, I don't like Shai. I don't like Shai's game. His game is majority. I don't even know if I'm saying this right. The majority of his game is get in the mid range, shoot a fadeaway, or drive to the lane and get a foul call. That is Shai Gilgeous Alexander's game. It's no sizing you up. Nothing. He doesn't do anything spectacular. I don't even think I've ever even seen Shai Gilgeous Alexander dunk the basketball. But still, right now, majority of basketball fans, basketball media, And NBA executives would probably say this as well. Without question, Shai Gilgeous Alexander should be considered the best person to ever suit up in a Thunder uniform. At the age of 27, he's fixing to sign, I'd imagine, a very hefty deal. He's probably fixing to be considered the highest paid player in the NBA. With the amount of draft capital that the Thunder have, one can surmise this may not be their last one. There has been a lot of parity going on in the NBA. The last 7 years, we've had 7 different teams win a title. 2020, the Lakers won. 2021, the Bucks won. 22 was the Warriors. 23 was the Nuggets. Last year was the Celtics. And this year was the Thunder. In 2019, we cannot forget the Raptors. But with the amount of draft capital, given I know the Thunder will probably try and re-sign Lu Dort. I think he is a free agent. Jalen Williams is fixing to get an extension. They're not letting him walk out of that door. Chet Holmgren, all these guys are young. They were the second youngest team in NBA history to win an NBA Finals. And Sam Presti, a lot of people he has been under a lot of scrutiny in the past for never getting the job done. But he was finally able to do it. And with the impressive job of him being able to flip Paul George into Shai Gilgeous Alexander and Jalen Williams and win a championship. And in that same breath, Paul George has done nothing since then, since he's been left the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, he's had some good years with the Clippers. He couldn't even stay on the court this year with the Sixers. And Father Time is catching up with him as fast as possible. But still, what Sam Presti has done with this team and setting up Shai Gilgeous Alexander and Jalen Williams for a brighter future, we gotta give him a lot of credit. So one can surmise this may not be their last one, and this may not be Shai's last one. The sky is the limit for Shai Gilgeous Alexander and the Thunder. It is our time to congratulate them, even though it may not have been in an exciting manner. You could say they got a stimulus package because of that Tyrese Halliburton injury, the way Tyrese Halliburton played early on in this game. And they didn't really have to play with a lot of pressure, although in the third quarter, they were down 1 going into halftime, and going into that third quarter, they broke away. But we have to give them their flowers. They had an historic season, and they capped it off with a championship. The ultimate goal is to win a championship. This is not in the same breath as the Lakers with the COVID championship. It's not the same thing. We got to sit back. We got to give the Thunder credit. They had an historic season. They're super young, and the sky is the limit. Shai Gilgeous Alexander is, right now as we speak, is a Hall of Famer. He is the best person to ever put on a Thunder uniform. And at the age of 27, with all the technology at his disposal, he has the ability to have a very good career. And he can do things for the city of Oklahoma that Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook were not able to do. Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are your 2024-2025 NBA champions. And I am sorry to all of the Indiana Pacers fans. Y'all fought hard. Y'all shouldn't have even been here. But y'all got here, and one can say it got slipped away from you guys because of a devastating injury. We're just still waiting to see what Tyrese Halliburton is being diagnosed with, but everybody can arguably say, and we can all tell, that it is going to be an Achilles injury. There's no doubt about that. And our prayers and thoughts are with him as he gets to a speedy recovery, and hopefully, he will be able to be back next season. What do you guys think about the Oklahoma City Thunder being your NBA champions? Do you think they got a stimulus package? Do you think Shai Gilgeous Alexander is the best person to ever put on a Thunder uniform? I want to know. all of your comments down below.